Welcome to the Leather Lounge, a weekly show recorded live every Tuesday where we explore the latest innovations in the Bitcoin ecosystem. From DeFi and dApps to digital art, we bring you in-depth conversations with developers, artists, and community leaders who are shaping the future. Whether you're here to learn about cutting-edge projects or to deepen your understanding of blockchain basics and decentralization, Leather is your go-to source for all things Bitcoin. Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. Well, hello and welcome back to the Leather Lounge, where each week we bring you conversations with the most prominent thought leaders, founders, builders, artists, and innovators in the Bitcoin ecosystem. I'm your host, Sean Longstreet, and today we are getting DeOrganized. We're joined by the creators behind DeOrganized Media, a fast-growing platform empowering creators to launch, host, and monetize live content within the Bitcoin and Stacks ecosystems. DeOrganized has carved out a unique space at the intersection of creator tooling, Web3 engagement, and Bitcoin native content. And today's episode also features our very first live game of Name That Tune, and I'll be giving away 5,000 sats to each winner. I've dusted off my guitar and I've prepared 5 melodies to play for you. To qualify for the giveaway, all you have to do is make sure you've shared this space, have a .btc in your X handle that corresponds with your Stacks wallet, and be the first to correctly answer the tune in the live chat. The winners will receive their sats as part of a live demonstration of BoostX, a tool that allows anyone to send Bitcoin and SIP10 tokens live on X. It's a powerful extension that gives artists and educators and streamers the ability to engage audiences in real time, rewarding participation and building on-chain communities, as we are going to be demonstrating today live on the show. So joining us today are the legends at the heart of every DeOrganized space, including Peace Love Music, Attract Funding, GPSC, Jackman Switch, Mel Bell, Crypto Dude, the creator of BoostX himself. If you enjoy these conversations, which I hope you do, please subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Leave us a review, smash that like button. It's the easiest way that you can support what we're building here and to help us find more listeners and help them discover the people and projects shaping the future of Bitcoin. So let's go. Let's get into it. This is the DeOrganized Takeover. So I'm going to throw it over to the one and only Peace Love Music. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Thank you, sir. Sean, I love what you guys do here. Obviously, Leather Lounge is OG in the space, in the ecosystem. Leather is a tremendous project. My go-to Stacks and Bitcoin wallet, actually, and for ordinals and all that cool stuff. And thank you so much for having us here today and recognizing us. And we consider you guys a huge partner in our ecosystem. You know, we're all here to push things forward together. We're supporting Bitcoin and Stacks via, Stacks is a way to support growth on Bitcoin. And that's what we're all about. So thank you so much for having us. And we're super happy to be here and all of our great talent around us here, which really is why it works, because it's not a one-man show, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that ties into the DeOrganized name, and I do want to get into the origin story. But first, let's just go around the room real quick because we have some familiar faces. So I'm going to call it in clockwise motion as I see it. So let's go to Mel, formerly known, the artist, the host formerly known as Good Kitty.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks very much for having us here today. I'm looking forward to it. Can you hear me all right? Because Peace's mic sounded pretty soft.
I hear you.
Sounds really
it's good.
soft. Yeah. So hi, what do? Introduce myself. The artist formerly known as Kitty. Meow. I
Pretty
am
simple.
the host of Bitcoin and Beyond. We are on X and YouTube every Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. And I'm very privileged to be part of the morning show with Peace and Blockface and GP. So yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Good. Well, I want to get into it and hear about your recent interview with our GM, our general manager, Mark. So yeah, we'll circle back to you in a minute. So let's go to Jack.
Hey,
with a fresh look today.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I had to shave a little bit. I'm Jack Benswitch. I'm a writer in the Stacks ecosystem. I am a podcaster. I'm a frequent guest on DeOrganized Media. I'm a Hermetica representative, and I am the co-creator of the Rue community here on Stacks. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with all my friends and legends, and really been looking forward to coming to the Leather Lounge again. This is a great show.
Thank you. Crypto Dude, we'll throw it to you.
Hey everybody, I'm Crypto Dude, the creator of BoostX and the co-creator of Deruptars, and those are an OG NFT collection on Stacks. Also, creator of Crypto Cash and Derupt. Kind of got a few different projects going, but everybody kind of knows me for BoostX at the moment, and excited to be here.
Awesome. Yep. My gosh, we're gonna need 3 hours to talk to be able to really dive into what everyone has done here, but we'll try to go fast. Let's throw it to Blockface and then the freshly formed GPSC. So Blockface, give us your intro.
Hello, my name is Michael Jagdeo. I am broadcasting from North America. You might know it as Canada. I'm a student at H1B University doing a DEI co-op placement with DeOrganized Media on the morning show. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. GP, take it away.
What's up, guys? Hope everybody's having a very, very blessed day. I am the Chief Vibe Officer.
I can't hear GP. Can you guys?
Can you hear me?
It's quiet.
Can't hear you at all.
We've been having,
Barely hear
this
you.
is our second go. We've been having some audio issues. So yeah, get close to that mic and we'll see if we can get through it.
Or turn up your mic volume.
A little better here.
A little better.
Yeah, I think it's your volume.
Yeah, let me try to like talk a little bit louder. Maybe you guys can hear me, but I am the Chief Vibe Officer of the Stacks ecosystem. I am an NFT artist. They call me GP. It stands for Gigapepe, and I am the co-host of the Let's Go Morning Show, along with the host of the DeOrganized Nightly segment. Yeah, I love people, and I love getting to know people. So I'm a communicator and a conversation facilitator.
Nice. Very important role in this ecosystem. Well, let's paint the picture so everyone understands the origin story of DeOrganized. How did it get here? Peace Love, let me throw that one to you.
Sure. So we started out of the D Grants project. D Grants cohort 2 was really, so I'd been in Stacks and involved in Stacks, accumulating Stacks for about a year. Started in like late Q1 2023. Had my Hero wallet, which eventually became the Leather wallet. So before it was rebranded Leather, I was on Stacks, but I wasn't super integrated into the ecosystem. Actually, I found Jack was one of the first people I found in the ecosystem through looking for information on Stacks on X, because he wrote all those amazing articles. He has a huge collection of articles on Seigel, and then he's been doing tremendous article writing the last several months on X too. Tremendous value to our ecosystem. But so Jack had got me into ordinals in the Node Rocks project, and that was my first experience with a decentralized community, or trying to build a decentralized community. And that kind of slowed down a little bit with the halving, and I started paying attention to, I was exposed to Hero Gamer, who is present in so many people's Stacks onboarding story, by the way. Huge shout out to Hero Gamer, because none of this would have happened without Jack or Hero to begin with. And so I had seen a little bit of cohort 1, but I didn't quite understand what was going on there. And I started seeing the spaces for cohort 2, which I thought was a tremendous opportunity I'm like, these are people applying for grants. They're building projects on Stacks. It's a way for me to get to know these people, who's contributing, who's the people that are, Kitty was one of the people that was a steward. She was hosting spaces for the art track and the NFT track. And I started seeing all of these spaces. So I started participating, and then Hero was encouraging everyone to come up and talk. So I was starting to come up, and I had been writing articles for Node Rocks, and actually a project called Bitscape that's kind of a layer 1, layer 2 type of thing that's still being developed, and maybe it will be and maybe it won't be. But some of the Node Rocks guys were starting a project called Bitscape, and I was writing articles for them and just kind of helping them with their documentation and stuff, wording and stuff like that. So I started kind of putting myself out there to just kind of talk with some of these builders and advise on messaging and kind of help with that kind of thing. And I was also helping to promote applicants to the D Grants Cohort 2 project. And I'm spending a lot of time trying to encourage people. You guys, whatever it is, if you got an idea, just apply, just submit an application, and it can just help you formulate your idea. And I was like, well, you know what? I really probably should at least go through the application process to see what I'm encouraging people to do. So I did that. And I basically just was like, well, what would I do here? I'm not a builder. I don't have the technical skill to do coding or anything like that, but I can help these guys. I'd started being more present in the spaces, helping co-hosts and stuff like that. So I was like, I'll offer to do a series of spaces and write articles for all of these grant projects. And I started doing that. I asked for no money, by the way. So I submitted a grant request, but I asked for nothing but support from the group, which everybody loved. And I got a tremendous amount of support for the project that way. And I just started having people on from the ecosystem, people that were building, focusing on that. Jack had started running his Ahead of the Curve show again on Bitcoin Live, and he asked me to co-host a couple times, and I felt like I was pretty good at it. It felt very comfortable. And I got to know Nick from Bitcoin Live, and I was like, well, why don't I start doing a bi-weekly live stream covering these guys? I started doing that, and I wanted to get Zero Authority DAO on there. And the time we were running our regular show didn't work for Zero. And the times that he was available didn't work for Nick at Bitcoin Live. So he basically just said, here, you can do this. He made me an admin. He's like, whenever I'm not using the platform, you can use it. So then I was like, well, I have this platform, and Nick's in the Netherlands. So he's, and he's at work during the day. So I had all day I could use the platform. So I started doing a daily, just kind of like saying hello, good morning, sharing out my vibes and everything. And that was around August. I started doing a daily morning show. And here we are, like several hundred daily episodes. Now we have the night show. We have Kitty's show. Michael did a series on AI that we might be opening back up. We have Crypto Landy. We started doing the Game Master segment, which is actually segues it into daily find to earn episodes. Now we get the meme coins all on there and everything. So it's really, really, we've had so many awesome guests from our ecosystem, all of the big people. We've got some great sponsorships now, great marketing partners, and we're just super excited to be, for our platform to be seemingly resonating with people. People are tuning in. Our viewership is growing. We've gone from like 50 to 60 people tuning in daily to, several hundred to sometimes 1,000, a couple thousand live show viewers every day. The night show's killing it. I think GP had like 1,700 people tune in last night. We've had some special episodes. Like we did a election coverage that was like 12,000 people tuned in. We had like 3,500 people tune in when we did the JFK docs release. That was a little underwhelming, but it was a big event when it was happening. So yeah, I guess that's the story.
Okay, good. Thanks for that backstory. Michael, I want to throw it to you to learn about your origin story and how you got connected with this motley crew.
Wow. So hello, my name is Michael Jagdeo, and actually not going to H1B University. I'm a headhunter launching startups with a decentralized group known as the Syndicate. We created a space online called the Syndicate, where we would fumble our way through the dark with AI, starting with ChatGPT. Now today is with Cursor and Lovable and Bolt and V0 and Replit. But we created a space where we could be intellectually vulnerable with each other, if that makes sense, which is a space to say, look, I might have experience with certain things, but I'm a complete amateur with code. And so, because I wanted to learn how to code because I faced an existential crisis at work, namely, I thought, if I don't learn how to code, am I going to have a job next year? That's what I felt 3 years ago. And so through that fear-driven development, we created a space where we could learn how to code. When I met Stacks through Peace, Love, and everyone here, I was like, oh, your goal is to unlock the $1.4 trillion of Bitcoin value? Well, I know that money can be cash, collateral, capital, and credit. I see the vision. And again, through D grants, through getting funded, we created AIs that would help people learn how to code in Stacks. And through sharing what I was learning with everyone else here, I learned a lot about Stacks. They learned a lot about AI. And it's kind of an iron sharpening iron every morning at 8:30 a.m. with these guys. So they keep me sharp.
Yeah, you're there every day. Can you tell us about the evolution and how it's changed from the early days and to its more polished form now?
I like to call it a semi-professional approach. I think we've all had experiences in corporate where you have to put on the mask and wear it all day. And sometimes playing the part gets in the way of doing the job. And so I think this semi-professional, deorganized is an apt name, approach to these things. It allows for time to be professional, but also a time to question whether the emperor in fact has clothes or not. And I think that's missing from the typical media discourse where they're all just trying to make you feel like the emperor has clothes. And because it's a deorganized approach that allows for productive dissent, because dissent is productive in a true democracy, I think that's where the strength comes from. It's not just a mouthpiece for manufacturer brands.
You guys, that's a really powerful concept. And this idea of being intellectually vulnerable, especially in a space where everyone is kind of learning in public. And I think that can be very, very challenging for people. Like you said, it's there's a lot of pressure to feel like, yeah, I know everything. And we do this like in our CVs and in job applications, tell me the highlights of your life. Tell me everything that you know, feeling like we always have imposter syndrome, right? So I don't know. Let me open it up to anyone else who can talk about this idea of putting yourself out there daily on a show. What are some of the hazards? Are there any like memorable moments, learning experiences you've had? Let me put it out there for everyone.
Well, it
I'll
takes a
take
lot
it.
of getting used to.
We
Right.
can all take this thing.
It's
All together.
it's terrifying at first, right? It's terrifying at first, but it actually, once you get used to it, it's very liberating because you're not worried about, you don't have to be perfect. So there's a lot of work that goes into the show and producing the show, and usually a couple hours before we go live. And then there's all the content and there's all the scheduling and the talking to people. There's a lot of work in there. But when we're live, it's natural, it's authentic, it becomes easy. And then the stuff that we produce out of that is true and real. So that's part of it, I think, too. But I'd love to hear what other people have to say on that.
Yeah, I
Take
think
it,
it's
Jack,
very
and then Mel.
different.
Or
Yeah.
no, Mel, you go. You got it.
Oh,
You got
yeah,
it.
go ahead, Mel.
I just think it's very different to, to everybody's point. It's very different to what we normally see on crypto Twitter. So you've got people who aren't afraid to admit they don't know what some of the terms mean or how to work a lot of the things. So, like P says, it's very authentic. We sit there, we ask questions. If we don't know, we just talk about what we don't know. So I think that's what makes it really cool. It's not serious. It's fun. And mingled in that, you've got some really sharp people who actually know what's going on, but are not being like high level intelligent the whole time, because you don't have to be.
Yeah.
Michael's shaking his head like, I have to
Mel
be
will
high level
appreciate
intelligent all
this.
the time. Sorry, Jack. Go
Michael
ahead.
and I don't.
That's because Michael's streaming from America's Hat, so he just has to. But in all seriousness, you'll appreciate this, Sean. Mel will appreciate this because, we were among like early content creators in the Stacks ecosystem. There were a handful of us, back in the day. And it was during those times where it became very apparent to me that crypto media was lacking. And really the answer to what it was lacking, I might not have been able to fully say it back then, but it's the term's been brought up today. It was lacking authenticity. It was just a crypto skin on everything that comes to people through their phone or TV on any given day. It was just more of the same. And so, there needed to be a change. There needs to be a breath of fresh air. Authenticity is valued in this space. It's valued down to the Bitcoin proposition itself. Why is Bitcoin spectacular? It's because there's no falsehood in Bitcoin. Everything is there. There's no hiding the truth on Bitcoin. So authenticity is rare in the space, but it shouldn't be because this is all new and people have a lot to learn and not everyone's going to have all the answers in a space where you literally have evolutions of the technology on an almost daily basis. So having a platform where people can not only come on and talk about what they're building or what they're doing, but where people can just say what they think and say what they feel, it makes it just a much more solid, almost new form of media that really should be quite popular in this age. And even more so as now we have so much AI created media that
Yeah.
is becoming, just it's everywhere. It's
Just
all over your
everything's over
timeline.
edited as well.
Right.
It's
And
over
so
edited. It's got so many, what are they called, filters, and you just see so much fakeness out there with these big yellow headings, and Bitcoin's going to the moon 1 minute, and then the very next day, because that headline didn't work, it's a crash coming. And I think we don't consume people with that talk.
and it's what DeOrganized demonstrates, and this is very important because this is applicable to everyone in this space, is DeOrganized demonstrates the value of community. And because everyone here is connected to someone else in the ecosystem. And that's what Web3 is really all about. This idea of an internet where people have a stake in it, right? And so we're all connected. We all have our own stake in it. And through our efforts and through our work, we help other people find out who they are in the space and how they contribute. And this grows. And this organic growth is necessary because at the end of the day, TVL doesn't matter. Hype doesn't matter. What matters is, are people using what's being built? That's what matters. And the only way that you're going to get real organic growth is from a community. I don't want to say necessarily directed, but a community oriented approach. And I think that DeOrganized really fleshes that idea out and makes it visible for everyone to, conceptualize it.
Amazing. I have so many thoughts in my head about this, especially around like the concept of iteration and growth mindset and making progress rather than focusing on perfection. Because something that's helped me in this process is rather than focusing too much on, what I did wrong, the mistakes I made, how it could have gone better, just always saying like, I'm not doing this to be perfect right now. I'm doing this to get better and to work toward progress. This is a really unique group because you're like a band and you're like performing every day together. So what I wanted to do at first, I was thinking, why don't we go around and can you tell me like what you bring to the table? But instead, I would like to invite you all to tell something about someone else. What does someone else in the room bring? What's their unique thing? What is, if it's an anecdote, if it's a story, or just in general, what is it that other person brings to the show regularly? So jump in if you guys have any thoughts
I'd like
on
to actually
on each other here. Go ahead.
I'd like to go around to everybody. GP brings in an unequaled work ethic and just positivity and always supporting everybody in the ecosystem, not even just DeOrganized. He brings like just a tremendous, tremendous vibe. Melanie classes us all up, by the way. Like she absolutely makes us all way more classy, way more legit. She does a tremendous job with her interviews. Her interview style is amazing. And she's like super fun, and she's actually a really great sport too. Like she lets us get away with saying some things that other people wouldn't probably do. Jack is the legend of Stacks legends. I can't say enough good things about Jack. Jack knows what's going on. He knows who to talk to. He's definitely ahead of the clip. And Michael brings a level of intelligence and sophistication to what we present on the show. Also, I love the way he challenges everybody and everything. And I'm actually going to shout out Crypto Dude. Even though he's not an official DeOrganized member, he's been on the night show regularly. He is and I've known him since before BoostX with Derupt and the Deruptars and what he's building with Crypto Cash, doing so many awesome things, building in our ecosystem. He is a tremendous value add, both on the tech side of things and just he also represents and reflects the ethos that we're all here for. And that's just a little bit. I mean, I could go on and on about all of these people. Tremendous amount of talent here.
Yeah, I want to go next. So the one thing that makes DeOrganized special with all of us involved is that we all have something to bring to the table, and it's authentic. It's not scripted. So it is awesome to just have a genuine conversation of what is intriguing to us from so many different peoples with so many different backgrounds, whether you're a techie like Michael or you're into knowing like what makes you tick like Mel. It takes all of us to make it special, and I think that's what makes DeOrganized work so well. it's a broadcast of so many so many awesome characters, right? It's like the characters of a show, and it just happens naturally.
Yeah, we're like friends.
Yeah.
Remember that movie show that where they'd sat on the couch and you'd come in weekly and you'd get to know their relationships and stuff? That's what we're like. And we are friends. And, honestly, for me, when I wake up in the morning, this is something I really look forward to doing. I look forward to having conversations. I look forward to Michael and me going rogue and Peace trying to rein us in. And yeah, so I think each and every person here brings, Jack with his wisdom, Peace with his ability to just bring us all together, his community, his wonderful way of speaking, Peace with his chill vibes. He's always wishing us all well, making us happy. And Michael with collecting information and sharing it at the most perfect moments. So yeah, it is. It's a crypto dude with I don't know him that well, but he looks very cool. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
This
Yeah,
is Crypto
I
Dude
think that,
doxing, by the way, right
the
now.
idea
Can
of
we point that out? Crypto Dude
Yes,
is
huge.
to my
Right.
knowledge, has
No!
never shown himself.
Well, let's
Huge
point that out.
event.
Yeah, let's point that out. Art.
I think that the idea of having a better crypto media was compelling, but seeing Peace make it happen is just amazing. And so to be able to actually do it and look, like, we always have these conversations where, in private, we're like, this is what's right, this is what's wrong, people shouldn't gatekeep, so forth. And that's, like, that's who Peace is. Like, it's like, no, like, come on the show, like, come say what you got to say. And it's really, for putting so much effort into something and then being so free with it, and allowing people to have equal access to it is massive, and it's something that space needs more of. And so I have a huge, amount of respect and gratitude for, towards Peace for making this happen, because this is a huge level up for everyone in the space. And Gigapeppy is not just super creative, but again, like, this is someone that whoever needs something in this ecosystem, he will give more of himself than he has to help someone out. And that's for no other reason than for his belief in what this space holds for people and the opportunity within the space. And again, like Mel, the same thing. Like, Mel's been just huge advocate for the arts, even when that's not a fashionable thing to be, because she truly believes that art is not just important as a human, but that art, in this realm, whether it's an NFT or an ordinal, that we're at this next iteration of what it means to not just collect art and store art, but how art defines us in this new age. So again, this is like, goes back to that authenticity and that mission. And Michael's hilarious, by the way. He's toning it down a little bit to be respectful of Leather, but Michael's hilarious, and he's one of the most educated people that you'll ever run across in the space, and you wouldn't know it unless you talk to him. And he, so he's always there to provide a stimulus for additional growth and understanding. And Crypto Dude represents what's best about development in this space, in that as long as there's a guy who knows how to code and he's in a permissionless environment, he can change the world. And we're seeing that play out in real time. And that's, again, that reaches to the core of what we're all about here on Bitcoin. Is this: you don't need permission, and everyone should have opportunity, and nobody should have the opportunity to limit anyone else's opportunity. And without guys like Crypto Dude, that don't happen.
I want to say something nice about you, Longstreet, because we're all saying something nice about everyone, and you're just sitting there like the dude who never got picked, even though you are the host. So I just want to say that out of everybody here, I've known you well, and probably Jack the longest, but we were, became close before I became close with Jack. And yeah, just also an incredible part of our ecosystem, both with promoting it and with producing art, whether it's music, whether it's your photography, just the same as me, even when it wasn't the thing to do, we were here, promoting it. And now the work that you're doing with leather, you've got the smoothest voice in Stacks for shows. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
wanted to.
for real, Longstreet. Like, as much as we love the culture that exists in Stacks, I consider you to be one of the people who have contributed to how amazing the culture is. There's few people that you can just look at someone and the work they've done and how they interact with people. And me especially, who I have a tendency, I can get short and I can just I can fly off the handle. And I look at Longstreet and I'm like, yeah, I need to be more like Sean. Like you're
I'm like Sean.
All
I
right.
don't
Well, that's
think
our show,
Sean.
everyone. Thanks for listening. And no, just kidding.
Have you ever shouted at anybody, Sean?
Not on air for sure.
Good
No,
answer.
so I don't know if you are into astrology, but I'm a Scorpio. And so you'll know that Scorpios are like calm on the surface and like wild underneath. So, I'm a creative person. You can't be driven to make art if there's
true.
no
If
there's
there's no fire.
turmoil underneath
Right,
driving
you
you to
gotta
make
have-
it. So
All right.
Yeah.
There's
that's right.
a
That's
fire
right.
inside, Sean. I like it.
Does that make us the frog if you're a Scorpio?
Oof.
I'm the half man,
let's not
half
cross.
beast. I'm the half man, half beast. I love it.
What are you today? Both? More one way or the other?
I'm always both.
You guys notice you have the same colors? Sorry.
Sean and
Couldn't help
I,
myself.
yeah.
Hey, they do.
I autistic laser beamed him.
That happened on your show a couple weeks ago. I was with you and you were trying to sync with me, and I was guessing something about your kid's birthday party. And I was not right, but closest to being right.
Really? I've entered your mind, Sean. Be careful.
Yeah. Well, time is of the essence. So I wanted to, before we do our live giveaway and play Name That Tune, I wanted to throw it to you, Mel, so you can talk a little bit about your show. And one thing that's so amazing, I wanted to just summarize this. It's so evident, like you guys said, it's like an episode of Friends every time. You guys have such a unique click and a way of interacting with each other, and you each have something to bring that the others don't. So it's a really magic combination that you have working together. And then it also benefits all these different side projects that you have. So it's this really beneficial daily thing that you guys have that feeds all the other endeavors that you have. And Mel, one thing that you have is the Beyond Bitcoin show. So I wanted to give you a chance to just talk about that newish endeavor, and then specifically maybe you could share some highlights about your interview with Mark recently.
Yeah. Look, the show came along. I'd spoken actually to Nick at Bitcoin Live last year, before Peace had started DeOrganized. He'd been saying to me, do you want to do a show? I'd paneled something that he had done. So he had been saying, do you want to do a show? And at that point, I wasn't doxxed. And I didn't know how to do a show because I thought, it would be so boring with just like this profile picture and me interviewing people. So then I waited. Then Peace started DeOrganized, and I kind of like thought, hey, this is, and I'd been doing a lot of spaces. I've been doing hosting spaces for years. And I thought to myself, I'd kind of been thinking about doxing, and I just saw what these guys were doing, and it just felt like the most natural thing. It was weird. I thought it would feel weird, but it was like I'd become such good friends with everybody in this ecosystem that it just felt like everybody had seen me anyway, even though they hadn't. So on New Year's Eve, I was at a party, shroomed up and with like glitter all over my eyeballs and a kitty hat thing on, neon colored leggings. It was an 80s party. And I just decided I'm going to do it. I'm absolutely going to do it. And I took my phone and I was like walking around the party, showed everyone where I was, made a big racket, probably looked completely ridiculous. And that was that. I said to Peace, you know what? I'm ready. This show name just came to me. It just flowed beautifully. And I just felt really comfortable doing it. It was time. Saying I wanted to be confident that I could speak about any topic to anybody without looking like an idiot. Even though So I didn't want to read things and ask questions on a piece of paper. Yeah. Then, meeting Mark. And up until Mark, I knew everybody that I'd interviewed. So I'd had a personal conversation with them. Mark was the first time it felt like a really professional interview because I'd never met him before. I met him like 2 minutes before we went live on air. We hadn't even had a moment to go like, anything. And so I really enjoyed it because it pushed me. And to be honest with you, I think besides my interview with Michael, it's my favorite other one. Those are my top two because I really felt like I'd pushed myself and I proved to myself that I could actually do this, that I could do an interview with somebody I didn't know, ask questions, really listen, because like I'm bad at that as well. I talk a lot, as you can, obviously, I got to stop. Michael, we need a signal. Peace, we need a signal like, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I found him to be just a fascinating person. His philosophy, he's all the pieces of a puzzle that make him the great leader that he is. Everything that he's done in his life makes him the perfect person to be leading or leather or the future of how we manage our money and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was really great. I was thrilled that he came on the show.
Well, yeah, I just want to point everyone, make sure you do subscribe to Beyond Bitcoin and definitely check out the recent episode. Bitcoin and Beyond.
Yeah.
Bitcoin and Beyond.
But you actually got it right because generally it's beyond Bitcoin.
Beyond.
Sometimes in the show, halfway through the show, I go, Bitcoin. This is a show about Bitcoin because we talk about, I like to get deep inside the person behind Bitcoin. When Longstreet.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, good. So what do you guys think? You want to hear some music?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's go. So everyone, make sure you've got the live chat ready to go. If you want to play, please make sure that you have shared out the space, that you've got a .btc in your name. And I'm looking at all the people who have already posted in the chat, and there's a lot of .btcs here. So I'm going to play 5 tunes, very familiar melodies. One of them is a little difficult. One of them, I know someone's going to get it, but it's maybe a little bit of a deep cut at this point. Although I know Melanie's going to get it. Okay, so here we go with...
Where do I write if I want to say the answer?
Okay, so if you all go to the Leather X handle, so X Leather BTC, you'll see our live stream there. Open that up, and that chat will be on the right.
All right, got it.
Broadcast chat, basically.
Just loaded up Shazam so I can try to cheat.
If only Shazam worked where you could like sing a melody in or play it on the piano. Like, what's that sound?
Have you ever tried that?
Been in that?
I tried that and it worked. Yeah, it didn't work.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I haven't got it to work for me, but maybe it's updated. Okay, I see some folks ready.
Oh no, my thing isn't working.
Well,
All right. Well, we've got 5 chances. So
you got 2 seconds.
Look. Okay. Anyway.
So, who was first on the draw there?
Yo,
GP.
You are a very
I was gonna
talented
say GP.
musician, sir.
No kidding.
No, I was
Jesus.
me. I was first.
Appreciate
Made that
that.
look easy.
Okay, but
I see GPSC in there first.
But what was the first note? Do you guys have perfect pitch? My guess is
perfect pitch.
Ooh, Michael, tell us about your music background here.
I play the steel pan. So the steel pan is arranged in the Pythagorean circle of fifths. And so the way we teach music theory is not through the Roman numeral linear system, but through the geometric internal consistency of the circle of fifths. ECG is how that starts. I'll stop there.
All right, Mel, I'm going to go back and listen to that episode. Michael, that was legit. Okay, so unfortunately our guests have a very unfair advantage, and that there's a little bit of a delay in the feed. So we may have to set some rules.
I'm abstaining. That was the sound of my childhood right there.
Right.
Had to throw that in there as a first
Doing a
cut.
so good.
speed
Find
run.
it.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to have our very knowledgeable guests sit these ones out. And here comes tune number 2. Let's go.
Dude, Sean, Jesus.
Who's first?
Dude, that's amazing.
Wow.
Holy
No
God.
kidding, right, dude? Your
It's-
skills are incredible.
Well,
Even
it's
the sound
my
effect.
AI.
Oh, okay.
Trust
I've been
anyone.
talking with Michael.
Can't trust anyone these days.
Yeah.
Says he heard his mom yell off, turn on the Nintendo, and clean your room when he heard Mario.
That flashbacks of getting in trouble.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Peace Love, I think you were the first one to post, but LMNO.
LMNO.
I think we're going to go to you. I have to make
give
notes
it to
here.
LMNO. I don't expect to win anything, and if I do win anything, I'm going to give it away anyway. So definitely LMNO. Give it to the homie.
Oh, that's great. At when I was on your show a couple weeks ago, you were playing
Fine to earn.
the map based game,
Fine to earn from
Fine to Earn,
Zenitron's
yeah.
Fine to Earn.
and
yeah.
I won. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
that's right, you
another
won.
thing worth shouting out too, because you guys do that game all the time. Yeah, I won, but I donated my winnings to the moon. I sent it to the
Very nice.
rover that's sitting up there on the moon.
Very
That's
nice.
so cool.
It's so
I
cool
sent
that
some-
exists. And for anyone who missed the episode,
I was going to say I sent some fresh
Peace.
dry sock up there myself. Some of the fresh dry sock tokens.
not wet sock.
Not moist sock. No,
Oh,
those are
nice,
gross.
yeah.
I should have sent all my freaking funds there.
Oh,
Man, that's awful.
you want to unpack
Maybe
that
when
right
I
now?
moved to the moon, I could open it up and have some bucks.
Oh.
I
I
heard our
can't wait
open
to go to
source.
the
This is open trauma.
I'm not going to talk about it. I still
Yeah.
can't see where you're all posting, guys. I'm just not going to post. I'll just sit here and enjoy. I'm being
All
stupid.
right. Okay. Tune number 3.
Blackbirds.
Man, Longstreet
nice,
makes me
very
want to
nice.
pick up my guitar and smash
Damn.
all my other guitars with
Dude.
it.
Honestly, that's. Oh, I thought you were going to say pick it up and play.
Next
You
time
know,
we-
Just pick it up and break it.
Next time we start the show with the guitar. That's what I vote for.
All right. There it is.
Yeah, you make me want to pick up my keys again, dude. Like, that's where I thought he was going to.
We have a band right here. This is making the band.
Yeah, I've got a piano right next to me.
I think we've all got
I've
the
got a
creative
guitar.
forces to take over the world.
The only thing I don't know is how the latency might work in a situation like this. But I wonder if we could do a jam session on a live stream. Be interesting.
We need a drummer.
To try and do because of synchronization. Everybody has different connection times, so the synchronization is really hard.
Yeah,
With a
You know what?
beats
I
per
had an
minute.
idea once to make an album of the worst music ever.
Well, with a consistent beats per minute, and a consistent chord progression, we can record tracks asynchronously and then just load them into FL Studio and bang, there's your song.
All right. D Grants, round number 3. Here we go.
FL Studio will
D-Grants
actually
band.
sync unsynced up tracks.
Well, as long as you have, again, the same chord progression over 16 bars and a consistent beats per minute, I just need to have everyone record to that same click track and just assemble.
That'd be really fun because you could have like a fresh prompt every
Kind of
week or
like
every show or
jamming.
whatever it is, like
Yes.
create a sample around this, you know.
The prompt would be the backing track that is shared with everyone.
Nice. That's actually a good idea.
That's the thing. We each week we each just play to the backing track, a solo.
You got it?
So
That's
each
it.
week somebody's got to prepare something, put it as solo, and then we remix it right at the end into it, or mix it right at the end into a track.
It's crazy.
We have a
the
community
technology
of
we have these
producers
days,
that
isn't it?
create their own unique mix.
The band, I
We do this in
believe,
real time.
the band was the first entity that actually did multi-track recording where they weren't all together, and they would send each other ADAT tapes and record and then mail it to the other guy, and with SMPTE and everything they could line it all up. But we've come a long way since then. But it's really
Yeah.
I
A
love
lot of
music. I
artists
play
record
music
that
all the
way
time,
now.
and I'm just I've never introduced it to the show because we have so much other stuff to cover. But I would love to be able to get us, if we could somehow actually play live together, that would be great.
Yeah, musicians have more gray matter density than people who don't play music. So there's a reason that musicians all come together, especially in tech. It's kind of like the open secret in tech that a lot of the talented people do have a musical background because of the gray matter density that you get from learning an instrument.
Music is math.
Or moving in.
Music is math.
Music is
and
everything.
language.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, I'll just riff on that for the music advocacy part, because obviously I've been, for anyone who doesn't know, my background is that of a music educator, composer, and jazz guitarist primarily. So yeah, if I'm going to get on my soapbox about music education, it's just for the intrinsic joy and benefits of it. But yes, when you are learning an instrument, it's physical. With most instruments, there's a group element for it, right? So you have to make the right sounds at the right time and blend with everyone around you. And that spatial awareness and aural awareness is like next level, like brain engagement. And to your point, Michael, I've met so many people as I've been transitioning from education to Bitcoin, this whole Web3 and Bitcoin space, who have either like formal music education, music backgrounds, or I'm still in a band, I still play an instrument, with some legitimate music skills. And Mozart, not Mozart, but Albert Einstein, they found when they did a brain autopsy on him, they found that is it the corpus callosum, the part that connects both sides? It was just like insanely connected. So what was so unique about him was his ability to come up with novel ideas, and it was the cross brain connections that really enabled that. And that's what music does. It's connecting all parts of the brain.
I wonder how many people who are involved very much in music get dementia. You know what I mean? Because it's a real problem. It's a topic.
Well, I can tell you this.
See how we derail, Longstreet.
My background is healthcare.
I'm here for it.
And so in healthcare, the population I've mostly worked with are the sickest people, and often you're elderly. You're obviously going to be most sickest. So you have a lot of dementia, and Alzheimer's patients, and almost to a T, they remember music, whether it was their favorite music or what have you, almost down to a single individual. You could have someone who was completely, can't orient them, and they're just having the worst day of their lives because they're just frightened. They don't know what's going on. And you find out from their spouse, they liked Motown, for instance, or whatever. And you go put Motown on for them, and it leveled them. People, there's something there for sure.
Isn't that incredible?
Truly. Yeah. And in these cases, Jack, I've seen these patients who, when they do hear a song, it's like it unlocks a part of their lives, and they're able to talk about the memories and even improve their speech because of because of the power of music and that memory.
We all have a soundtrack to our lifespan. We just don't realize it at the time, but it's the music that encodes those key moments in our life. And you see that with a patient who can play music with one hand on a piano, but maybe can't operate linguistically anymore. So it points to these parts in the brain that just because we lose our language functioning does not mean we've lost all functioning. And sometimes it maybe operates like a daredevil type of effect musically.
And you see, now this has just turned into an episode of DeOrganized.
I apologize.
That's what I said to Longstreet. We just derail. It all derails.
But we're talking about music, which is the most important part of this conversation, isn't it, Longstreet? Come on.
Yeah.
When everything's said and done and we can't produce anymore. When we can't produce any more Satoshis because of quantum blah, 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 we'll be playing guitar, won't we?
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's the big question is as hopefully AI takes over so many parts of every job, every process, even the creative process, at what point do you say the there's more benefit to me creating this myself than outsourcing it to an AI because of the intrinsic benefits of the creative act. AI will help us enable ourselves to have more time to be creative because we are creative people. That's what we are.
Just
That's
because a
core.
computer can do it doesn't mean we shouldn't.
Right. Well, it's just like the ancient Greeks, an oral tradition. Even back then they were like, oh, if we write too much stuff down, it's going to make people stupid, right? And so now we're to the place where we're habitually outsourcing our thinking to AI, and we haven't seen the peak of that yet. So no, people should absolutely do whatever they can to avoid falling into that trap, whether it's creating music, whether it's reading, whether it's writing, where all of these things that make us fundamentally human, we have to not just embrace, but we have to just really lean into in this
It's actually
coming age.
more important now because AI is going to have the effect where it atrophies our cognitive thinking toolkit. That's what happens. We saw that with GPS, where we lost the ability to propriospatially tell directions when GPS came out. So we should expect the same thing when we outsource our thinking to LLMs, smaller, large context, that there's the clear and present danger of atrophying those muscles that don't get used.
I would
Also,
say
like
though,
everything.
go ahead, Mel.
No, just a quick thing. I was just going to say, like everything, it all comes down to education. And I think when it comes to AI, it's really understanding what to use it for and how to use it and not to let it take over your thought process. So, for me, yesterday, as an example, I had this sudden urge to learn about the Big Bang and really just structure my thoughts around it. So for me, not to have to go, traditionally, I would go now, or I'd used to get a book back in the day in 1944. Otherwise, now I I would go online and then I don't know what information to choose because Google's just so now I can go onto a couple of different chat GPTs and then take it all together out, give me the TLDR. And within half an hour, I have had a course in the Big Bang and I know now I can speak about it. So, or go and research it more, feel more comfortable doing that. So I think that's where it is super helpful. I use it all day just to get information, and then I use that information to then output my own thoughts.
So, and I think it actually is a force multiplier, right? So you're able to pull in more information in a cognitive way. So you're actually, I think, doing more thinking, not less. You're offloading some of the tedious parts of it, but you're actually getting, I think I'm handling more information now than I ever had to on a daily basis. And AI makes that possible.
Yeah, it's quite scary.
But I don't think I'm doing less thinking. I think I'm actually doing more thinking. And it's the same thing with, so the example of the drum machine, we've had drum machines for a long time and they've gotten more and more sophisticated, but there's still drummers and there's always going to be percussionists.
You still need a live drummer
or a pan player.
I think AI opens up your time for more creative thinking rather than, tedious number crunching.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I look at it.
Our thinking is
spend
going
more
to
time
advance.
Pacing.
Sorry,
But
Michael.
the other,
spend more time
part of it
pacing.
is that's
Thinking. You're
direct
pacing when you're pacing.
from-
That's what I do. My wife calls it doing laps. Like I have to step away from my computer to think about stuff, or I do it like habitually. I don't even realize it. And I just start walking around the house and I'm thinking thoughts through.
Oh, go ahead, Jack.
That's good, but that's the polar opposite of just being like, hey, GPT, what should I think about this? Right. And that's what I'm more concerned about for people.
I find I have to teach the chat GPT a lot more for it to be productive anyway. Like I have to train it. I have to give it information before I can rely on anything that it gives back to me.
Yeah.
Context matters
Completely
massively.
deorganized the show. What have you guys done?
This is the DeOrganized Takeover.
This is we're on DeOrganized now. Welcome, Sean. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, we'll get there. I do want to make one more point.
I want to say that I sent LMNO is winning some. So
Let's go.
Awesome. I also want to shout out
everybody.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I also want to shout out some other people in the chat. So Dev Queen came in with a Beatles too. I'm not sure if she was first, but I think she definitely deserves some. And also, thanks everyone for jumping in the chat here. Trip and Monkey, you're present as always and appreciated. before we do the next song, I wanted to make one more point on AI and music, and that is one of the most important states of human mind is flow state. And it's so hard to get into flow state when we have all these push notifications happening all the time. And that is one of the great hacks about the creative process, whether it's drawing, getting out your arts and turning off the notifications, picking up a guitar, just putting yourself in a situation where you are present with limited distractions and you find that flow state. That's the optimal place right there. So, but we have to be most intentional about it. You have to be intentional. You have to plan for it and say like, how much flow state time have I had today?
Have you seen the flow genome matrix from, I think, Kotler and Wheeler? If you Google flow genome matrix, he shows you the 4 steps: struggle, release, flow, and there's like another step, and he shows you the actual brainwave patterns and the neurotransmitters. Flow genome matrix. Google that. You'll love it.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm going to keep things moving forward. I have 2 more tunes, and Crypto Dude, I want to give you a chance to, if you can, share screen so that you can really demo BoostX, what you've built, and how people can use it to send sats through X. So here we go with tune number 4. This is a tough one. It's a deep cut.
I know the song, but I don't know that it's not coming to me.
Yep. That's a tricky one. It is, I'll start giving you some hints. If you can name, I think the name of the composer and the musician is easier to know than the name of the song. So it's jazz.
And
it's a very familiar name. Very familiar. Like when you think jazz, who are the top 5 artists that you would say like, oh, that's jazz?
Last name R?
The primary instrument that you hear the melody on in the original is the trumpet.
I want to say
Miles,
but I put in the chat.
No?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Louis Armstrong is a good guess, and it is Miles Davis. Nice job, Peace Love.
Wow, Miles Davis.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sonny Rollins. Is it Henry Rollins? Sonny Rollins?
Sonny Rollins, film player.
Rollins,
Black Flag.
Yeah.
Jack Rollins.
Who's going to do the mashup of Black Flag and Sonny Rollins Under the Bridge? That's what I want to know.
Oh, dude, that'd be sick.
Okay, fun story.
We get the AI to do it, and we don't have to think about it anymore.
That's true. I am going to derail real quick just to share a Sonny Rollins. So he's got this album called The Bridge, and basically he just removed himself from society and he would practice under a bridge all the time. And he stopped gigging. All he did was he practiced. And after he was done with his like disappearing from society, he came in and just started like blowing everyone's minds because he had developed this new style. So there's really something to be said about kind of going deep and withdrawing from society for a while to develop something, unique. So Sonny Rollins. Okay, that was a tough one. That was the hardest one, but I've got one more tune for us to play, and then we can have our demonstration from Crypto Dude. All right, here's tune number 5. Let's not give it away. Let's give the chat a chance to answer here.
Fine.
All right.
I already know it. It's Angus Young.
I don't see it in the chat yet.
Oh man, that's a classic.
Oh, there we go. DeFi Dictator, AC/DC, Back in Black. DeFi Dictator, that's great. Crypto Dude, can we throw it to you for a demo and send 5,000 sats to DeFiDictator.btc?
Let's go.
Yeah, give me 1 second to try and figure out how to use this share screen on this first time using Riverside here. So hold on.
Yeah. Peace, love. I know you were holding your tongue on that one.
Yeah, I grew.
Thanks for holding back.
I'm born in '77. I was AC/DC was like middle school was like my that was like one of my favorite bands at that age, young age. Good stuff. It still rocks, Very simple, very bluesy, blues and rock, but very interesting stuff, as far as the vibe goes.
Yep. It holds up. All right, I see your screen.
All right, give me
Let's
one
send some
second here.
sats.
Give me one sec here. Can you actually see it? Okay. I'm also on a Mac here. I usually am on Windows, so bear with me here. I'm
Nice.
noobing it up over here.
What a sellout.
In public.
I know, right?
Out. Wow.
Well, DeFi dictator. Let's give him. You think Stacks is growing into the strongest layer 2 on Bitcoin? So this looks like a good one to boost. Since we can't really boost directly in the chat, and obviously this is a CSS issue, so disregard that. So we're gonna send him some SBTC though, right? 5,000 sats. So basically, I just went to his profile page, found one of his tweets. Since he's got his BNS name equipped on his X display name, he's able to basically receive boosts because we're able to translate the principal address out of his name, kind of all via BoostX for him. So we'll hit transfer. I don't think you're gonna see this screen because maybe you are.
No,
I don't know.
Oh, pop-up's not
showing the
there.
sign.
Still on X.
But it does show the copy tweet screen.
That's cool, huh? Yeah, that's cool.
And so basically, I just boosted him. I mean, I probably should have shared the whole screen. Sorry about that.
Right. That's what.
Would have been easier to see the leather wallet window pop up there. We can do it on the next one, though, I guess.
Nice.
So there you go. DeFi Dictator got 5,000 sats inbound,
Nice.
sir.
That's it.
And there's
So
a
cool.
tweet about it.
And because this is SBTC, we're not waiting 10 minutes. We're not waiting 30 minutes. DeFi Dictator's getting his Bitcoin now.
Yep.
Yeah, we can check out
We're just
transaction.
innovation on top of innovation.
He's already got it. He's
Yeah.
already.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Amazing.
Yeah, Jack.
BTC is better BTC.
Well said. Yeah. Thanks for going there, because that's another thing that I wanted to point out, that 6 months ago, this wasn't possible. You couldn't send Bitcoin in 10 seconds.
No.
This innovation is insane. The stack space. So maybe we can quickly talk about the amazing event yesterday. Stacks is winning, but it was a really great, succinct demonstration in all of the innovations happening right now, and Stacks is ready to go. I mean, the things that we can do with DeFi and making your Bitcoin productive, it really is just next level.
So, dude,
man.
can you show the Hyro Explorer on that transaction for the folks at home?
Yeah, sorry. Let me share this
Because
tab instead.
that's the final
There you go.
picture of what just happened in real time.
So if I was sharing the whole screen, they would have seen that a little more promptly. Basically, after I hit send, took a matter of seconds, and then it's confirmed on the blockchain, on the Stacks blockchain, which is obviously evident here by viewing the transaction on the Explorer, so we can see that he was a Leather Lounge. Name that tune winner.
Can you zoom in on that for the tech folks at home? Because that's really the crux, if you can zoom in there.
So here we can see the message that I included. It's even got the encoded tweet ID for people to find what tweet basically was boosted. And, the context of what can be transferred when boosting is not just SBTC. So if people wanted to send stacks or USDH or an NFT, they can do that as well. It's pretty
Buy a
cool
home
for
in New
supporting.
England, right?
Maybe.
Soon, TM.
If you had, prior to this show, the Stacks DeFi space was on X, and basically the TLDR is, we're watching the evolution of DeFi happening on Stacks right now. Because of things like Hermetica and things like Zest and Stacking DAO. And, so you have this Stacks built on Bitcoin, leveraging Bitcoin, DeFi built on this SBTC that is already leveraging Bitcoin. And now you're here with BoostX seeing a SocialFi component using, this is all just so ahead of where most other chains are. Like, everyone kind of lost it yesterday when CZ was talking about AI is going to use crypto for money. Publius was talking about this 2 years ago before he started on AI BTC dev. Like, people don't realize just how ahead of the curve we are in this ecosystem. Nobody's doing these things yet. And this is how you win. You win by paying attention and learning about these things going on right now, and capitalizing on that, because this is all next level stuff that eventually is going to be taken for granted because everyone's going to do it. But by then, we'll have continued to build out even more innovation, because we're building on the best foundation, which is Bitcoin.
And I think a lot of that
Exactly.
comes from like the ethos behind Manib. And, you know, he went through what he went through to, you know, he had a vision, and that was to make Bitcoin scalable, to tap into this, you know, $1 trillion whatever. And I think that all kind of like, because whatever happens at the top leads down to what's going in the bottom. And so you've got these people who've been here on Stacks working and building for a long time, where L2s weren't popular, you know, before ordinals. It wasn't exactly like we were working in a hugely popular environment. In fact, on Twitter, there was oftentimes very, you know, horrible things said about Stacks. And yet the people here just kept building, you know, and it's not a pump and dump. It's not like anybody was making like huge amounts of money. You know, people were here. If you think of us, Longstreet, being here for the last 4 or 5 years, Jack as well, you know, we've kind of hung out through terrible bear markets. And so have these people that are building these incredible things. And so they come with wanting to make Bitcoin better, not here to just like throw out. And that's why even if you look at our meme coin communities, they're not like regular meme coin communities at all. You know, it's quite extraordinary, I think. So a very beautiful
I've been
ecosystem.
hammering on Stack since one name days, before Blockstack was even Blockstack, which Blockstack turned into Stacks eventually. So, you know, there's most definitely a lot of us builders here that kind of hide behind the scenes and don't really get real vocal in terms of marketing, because we're a little bit shy in that regard, and, you know, we just focus on the tech side of things. But yeah, like, there's a ton of technology that has been developed over the years that is very in sync and aligned with itself and the broader Bitcoin ethos. So, you know, we have a lot going in Stacks right now. It's
Yeah,
like, I look at it like the hard work has kind of already been done at this point. It's now just about leveraging that hard work, basically.
and I have to commend you, Crypto Dude, because like you've been building in the open, you've been trying to get yourself out there more. Like you've been coming on the night show regularly, and now, you know, you're like showing your face and getting yourself out there to another level now. You know, so it's awesome that you're building in the open with us, and then building for the users, right? For the base community members of Stacks, you know. So like I definitely have to commend you. It's like it's not easy whenever you have something really important that you're having to build, and then you don't know how to like communicate like how good it is, you know, how or what you're even doing, right? You know, so I have to commend you. Like you have definitely got yourself out there, bro. Keep going.
Right on. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's most definitely outside my normal wheelhouse. I prefer to be the nerd just hammering on the keyboard, you know, but I also know that that's not going to get the word out. So I'm trying to get uncomfortable, as it were.
Let's come on my show. Let's do a show. Because now that you've doxed yourself, I've wanted to have you on a show. But again, going back to it's hard to talk to a PFP.
Yeah. I've been getting slowly more comfortable with that. It's just like one of those things, you know, I guess the tinfoil hat's still underneath this beanie somewhere, you know.
That's what the lounge does to people. I know, Mel, the first time that you accidentally referred to yourself as Mel was, I think, on the lounge in like December or maybe even November, and you said, "Oh, oops, I just said my name."
Yeah.
That was the beginning. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was between these two gentlemen here, Longstreet and Peace. You were my debut and my debut.
Thank you, guys. Well, we are like so far over time, but I can see why you guys need a daily show, because it's so easy for you guys to riff on each other. So we really just got like another minute. GP, we really haven't had a ton of time to hear from you. Let me start with you. If you want to share any closing remarks, and then Crypto Dude, we're still looking at your shared screen here.
Yeah.
You can click that unshare button. Thank you. GP, yeah, let me throw it to you for some final words.
Yeah, I think that what we're doing in this ecosystem is amazing. Like, we are making Bitcoin more programmable in a decentralized, trustless way, and I think that we need to continue to keep that ethos going, right, while bringing Bitcoin to a broader audience. And I think this is the way to do it. And Stacks does community right. And I think that if we continue to build in the open and then not gatekeep and let everybody be heard, then we are doing justice by this ecosystem. And that's why I think what we're doing with DeOrganized is very important. So, like, I adore all of you, and like I really am proud to be part of everything that I've got going on, with the Zest community, with the Stacking DAO community, being a leather ambassador. All of these things mean the world to me. Like, that I feel seen, that the work that I'm doing, I can continue doing what I have been doing, and that I may just inspire somebody else to try.
Well, I think this is going to have to be a regular event, the DeOrganized Takeover, because love the energy that you all bring. Peace, love. We started with you. We're going to end with you. Any closing remarks here?
Thank you so much, Sean, for having us. We all are huge supporters of Leather, Trust Machines, and everything you guys are doing for Stacks as well. Thank you to all of our friends, our DeOrganized partners, Melanie, GP, Jack, Blockface. Shout out to Hattie, Hero Gamer, a bunch of other people, Binta, 300. This has been a huge supporter. Crypto Dude, thank you so much for all you've been doing for us. Thank you for having us. Really great vibe here, as always. You definitely have that. You keep everything very peaceful and calm, which is very nice for me. I appreciate that kind of a show, because there's a lot going on in our world that is not peaceful and calm. So it's nice to have that kind of platform here. And just thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for support all of our viewers that support DeOrganized, the Stacks ecosystem, our tremendous partners, all of the meme coin projects that support Find to Earn, Zenitron with what he's done. I could just go on and on. So I'll just stop myself now, because if I don't, I'll keep going. I learned TA with Landy coming up in about half an hour. So we'll be streaming another show in 30 minutes. Tune in for that if you're interested in learning more about reading charts. And we will definitely look forward to coming back on Leather Lounge again soon. And also, you're always welcome on DeOrganized. Anytime you guys want to come out and hang out with us, you're more than welcome.
Awesome. I love the open invitation. I'll take you up on it. Well, let me also make sure that if anyone listening has not done so already, go to deorganized.media. Is that the main address?
DeOrganized.media, or even just deorganized.com will get you there. It will probably be downline. There'll be a suite of apps and or websites, I believe. So it'll be more than just, we're probably going to start calling it DeOrganized, and then .media, .games, redacted. We'll see where it goes.
Awesome. Nice. Well, Michael, Mel, GP, Jack, Crypto Dude, peace, love, everyone in the audience. I'm looking at you, DeFi Dictator, and Trippin' Monkey, Elemento. Thanks, guys, for listening in as you do every week. We are really trying to get some more followers and some reviews. So if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, do us a big favor and subscribe, leave us a review. That way we can get more listeners here. So there is every minute of the day seems to be filled up with something on DeOrganized Media. So definitely go find your favorite shows. Check in with these guys every day because there's always a great conversation. And I'm grateful that you all joined us here today. Check out Good for Bitcoin this Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be back next Tuesday for a very special Earth Day episode with a company called Carbon Country, which is helping to enable Bitcoin mining to be more, green and more sustainable. So I'm really excited about the show that we've got next week. So that's next Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, as always. Thanks again for joining, everyone, and we will see you next week. Thanks again for joining us in the Leather Lounge. We record each episode live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And if you'd like to listen in or join us on stage, make sure to give us a follow on X at LeatherBTC. Leather is your gateway to everything Bitcoin, from DeFi to stacks, ordinals, runes, stamps, NFTs, and more. You can find loads of helpful crypto content on our YouTube channel and visit our blog and learn center at leather.io.